Edit. Oh, no. Now, dark. Not completely, just a little bit. Just here. Actually, I'll do this.
Oh, look at how fancy that is.
Yeah.
That's why he's the tech guy.
I am here to delete your cookies. This is a picture the kid saw and he was like, "Is that your daughter?" Oh, fucking kid. There we go.
Now we look more relaxed.
A little bit.
I'll never see that. Let's bring my phone up.
Yeah, I should probably open up the
Oh,
file. on my
no, I
phone.
don't have that there. So
Oh.
So I guess this is what a typical.
you haven't seen Dune yet, have you?
I have.
Oh, she sounds like the throat singer guy when they're marking up this.
That's Tubin throat singing.
Yeah,
Right up right was a huge fan of that in school.
it's like they're doing it when they're marking up the start of Star Wars. All right.
All right. So we can
Somewhere in the middle of the podcast.
Yeah, at least now because it's not live.
Yeah.
If either anyone was taking a piss, I could pause it and run out of the room. But it was I didn't know what to do if it was live because I know we could pause it in the middle of the program. I had to tell people like, "Oh, Mike will be back. He's taking a piss."
We now pause for technical difficulties.
We already went through technical difficulties.
These messages will be right back.
This house.
Kevin could entertain with Tubin throat singing.
Good.
I did say start recording.
Yes, you do. We already.
I'm blind now. Now I don't have to worry about looking at myself.
Shake the hair back. Shake it back. Shake it back. Whip it, baby. Whip it. Come on.
I don't like doing it
Hey,
too much
give us the
because as
shoulder.
I'm shaking my hair, I can feel this on her.
Now give us the shoulder. Give it to us.
Now I'm gonna give you some blue steel. Ready?
It's blue steel.
Blue steel. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to episode 41 of Films and Fermentation. Sorry for anybody who tried to turn into the live broadcast, but YouTube decided to tell me as we were going live that I didn't have the right software for the program.
Wah, wah.
We are all three of us in the same room together for only the second time, which is why Mike's soundboard is coming out of his actual mouth right
Wah, 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 wah.
now. And we unfortunately had to do our episode the normal way. We couldn't do it the live way. But this is episode 41. We are here to review for you the soon-to-be Christmas classic.
This is going to be an annual thing. For
This
me.
was a better movie the second time around, I have to say. So
Yeah.
we are reviewing Fatman, starring Mel Gibson. A rowdy, unorthodox Santa Claus is fighting to save his declining business. Meanwhile, Billy, a neglected and precocious 12-year-old, hires a hitman to kill Santa after receiving a lump of coal in his stocking. I'm Leo,
I'm Kevin.
I'm Mike.
and we just watched the near-future classic Fatman, starring the never-controversial Mel Gibson.
He does so good at keeping out of the public eye.
Remember to visit us at our website, filmsandfermentation.weebly.com, or shoot us an email at filmsandfermentation@gmail.com, or visit us on any of our social media platforms on Instagram and Facebook, etc. Let's go into our usual gig here. This day in film history.
This day in film history, December 14th, 1984, David Lynch's Dune is released.
It's the original of the 3 versions of Dune. So
Man, that's where they got
1984.
the block images for Minecraft, isn't it? When they had the fighting scene. No.
I don't play Minecraft, so I don't know. Oh, I know what you mean.
Oh,
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
the shields that they
The
wore.
shields
in
that they
Doom,
wear.
Yeah, they would make
It's-
like blocky
You know,
squares.
somebody in 1984 is like, I gotta create a game.
Because David Lynch didn't want to work with Lucas's ILM Studios to get better special effects. No, that led to a miniseries that came out in 1999 on Sci-Fi Channel. It was a 6-hour miniseries of the original book Dune, and it was way better. It was actually way better than the David Lynch one because it followed the story. Actually, had better special effects. But then we had the new one that just came out recently, which I highly recommend. And if you go back, I have a mini pod review of that as well. So what else happened this day, Mike?
In 1966, Dr. Seuss's How the Grinch Stole Christmas airs for the first time on CBS.
You're a mean one.
Mr.
Mr.
Grinch.
Grinch. You really are.
Who was the voice of
That was Boris Karloff,
That's
the
what it
voice
was.
of the narrator and the voice of the Grinch.
right?
I love the animated one, the original one.
Oh, yes.
It's a classic. I love it's one I watch every year. It's
But
when
you
I was
can't
just
find it on TV anymore.
yeah, it's hard to find.
No,
Any Christmas specials this year. I can't find anything on.
Doesn't CBS have a streaming service yet?
Mhm.
Okay, wouldn't that be on the
It's CBS All Access or something like that, isn't that their streaming service?
CBS?
Yeah. Oh no, it's
Paramount.
It's Paramount.
That's
now.
Paramount.
Plus.
Okay.
Plus.
Paramount Plus. So probably it might be on there.
Does
I
that?
have to
Do
check
any
it
of
out.
us have Paramount Plus?
I have
I
it.
do.
You have Paramount Plus
Yes,
as a
I do.
streaming service?
I
Okay.
don't know.
So I have to
I
check
do
it
not
out.
either.
I have it. It's free.
Is it?
Yeah, it's free. I mean, there is a paid version of it, and then there's a free version.
Oh, there's a free.
commercials and
Okay, there's a free version.
Because I was thinking between the three of us and us being Trekkies,
stuff.
that
I have
seemed to
Paramount
be
Plus
a
because
necessity.
I got Paramount Plus because I have an absolute need to watch The Price is Right every day. I come home from work and first thing I turn on is The Price is
I am
Right.
the
So-
president of the Bob
So there
Barker
is a
Fan
free
Club.
version.
The Drew Carey fan club now.
So there's a free version of it. Okay, let me try it out.
Yeah, it's like a lot of commercials and shit.
Well,
Is
it's
it
like Peacock.
Is it like Peacock where
Mhm.
it kind of just cuts out for no reason?
No, that was a bonus.
that was a
That's
bonus today, yeah.
But I was just saying, it's funny. We had a trivia question at school the other day. Our principal does a question a day before Christmas break, and it's a Christmas one. And the question was, who was originally supposed to play the elf in the movie Elf? And I wrote down Jim Carrey because Jim Carrey was supposed to play Buddy the Elf when it first went into production 10 years prior. And then it took so long for the movie Elf to come out that he turned it down eventually and did the Grinch instead. And complained about how painful the Grinch costume was that he had to wear the whole time. But there was an argument that no, it wasn't Jim Carrey, it was Chris Farley. Because if you watch the How Did This, or not the How Did This Get Made, the Movies That Made Us series, on
That made
Netflix,
us, yeah.
they mentioned that Chris Farley was in the run to play the elf as well, which was true.
And that would have been okay.
But he passed away prior to it.
And that kind of sucked.
Yeah, so then it alienated with Will Ferrell.
Yeah.
But I put down Jim Carrey as with other people because he really was the first person. And our principal was like arguing with me about it.
Arguing
And,
with
like,
you.
Yeah, and I'm
About movie
like,
trivia.
I host a
Really?
movie trivia
Excuse
podcast.
me.
So it's like, excuse me, and so like our emails have been going back and forth.
Let me pull up my contributions to IMDb, and
Yeah, so-
I'll tell you, it's tough to get certified as a contributor to IMDb.
He is arguing with a
I will
man
tell you.
who went 1 against 5, and all that came up on the screen was Twinkie. And he goes, Ghostbusters. And we're like, what?
So this is the first email that went out. It's a picture of Chris Farley. This was the answer. And I said, Jim Carrey was also offered Elf before Will Ferrell. I contest this trivia question. She writes back to me, are you thinking of the Grinch? And I wrote back, no, Jim Carrey was offered Elf. And then I gave her a link to the website known as Mental Floss, which had 20 things you might not know about the movie Elf, which mentioned Jim Carrey. Blah, blah. She writes me back, I am contesting the use of a website called Mental Floss. And then I wrote, I can give you other examples if you like. I take my movie trivia very seriously. She goes, I got the question from the Netflix documentary on Elf. I said, the movies that made us. I watched it tonight. It's not wrong about Chris Farley, but Jim Carrey was definitely offered the role as well. I don't care about the chocolate that you give as a prize. I'm just protecting my reputation as a self-proclaimed movie trivia expert. And then I sent her this today, last one, I promise. Jim Carrey also played the So yeah, this is what I do at school. Fight with my principal.
I don't think I can have such a
Cordial?
a cordial,
like
relaxed
cordial
relationship.
exchange, yeah. not to say that against him, he's just too busy of a person to argue about, who starred in what movies.
She's busy too, which is probably why she was getting annoyed with me for constantly emailing her. What's our last one, Mike?
The last one, film history. So remind the audience where we're at.
Still doing film history.
In 1984, A Christmas Carol, directed by Clive Donner, starring George C. Scott, premieres in the U.S.
The best.
One of my favorites.
Yeah,
Definitely
absolutely. And I was really upset because we wanted to watch it the other night. There were no services that I contribute money to on a monthly basis that had this available for free.
I know.
Peacock didn't have it. Netflix used to have it, didn't. Prime, I think, had it last year, didn't. And I think this was something recent because I could have sworn I saw it come up recently as something that was available for free, even Xfinity. So, and I haven't hooked up my DVD player. I do own it. I mean, you can't love it and not own it. But I have yet to hook up my DVD player.
It's definitely one of my favorites. I say my favorites are probably this one, the Muppets Christmas Carol, and maybe the Patrick Stewart one. It was pretty good.
Mickey's.
The Mickey one's pretty good. But I for my money, like this is the one I watched probably the most growing up.
Yeah,
it's probably the one I
this
know
was
the
one of
best.
my mother's favorites, and
It was scary. Too.
It was
This
scary. It was
moments.
very dark. This was actually, and this is an added tidbit of trivia to this, is that in the United States, this version was released on CBS as a television movie. But in the UK, this was actually released theatrically. It was put in theaters and put out that way. So
I'm trying to find this. I saw this Michael Kane Christmas Carol meme the other day, and I thought it was really funny from the Muppets Christmas Carol. And it was something like, Michael, this is a Muppets movie. You're going to be playing Ebenezer Scrooge, but you're going to be acting against the Muppets. So feel free to take it a little more lightly. And then it's a picture of him dressed as Scrooge, and it says, "I will take this as serious as any film I've ever done."
And he does.
And he does. And that's what makes it great, because he's playing it straight with the
The
Muppets.
Muppets, yes. As if they're real actors. I think.
But yeah, so they are real actors. The Muppets have been around for a long time. What is your fun drink fact?
My fun drink fact is the BATF, Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms, prohibits the use of the word refreshing to describe any alcoholic beverage.
That's a shame, because I've had many refreshing beverages today.
and honestly, now with seltzers as popular as they are, I can say that the word refreshing is part of their montage, their advertising. So I don't know how they're getting around this, as I like to call them, the bat.
Yeah,
the bat, which is what it is, the bat.
You're like, yeah, all these other places like the FBI, CIA got cool names. We got the BATF.
We got that.
When I first looked at this earlier, I thought you were writing a fact about the BAFTA, which is the English Oscars. And then I saw,
Thank you so much for all your
and I
contributions.
saw like the alcohol, tobacco, and firearms thing. I was like, oh, nope, that's not what that is.
It's getting a little rowdy here tonight.
So yeah, they're not refreshing. So that gets us to our drink segment, which I don't know how to host a drink segment.
I know.
Because
We've been going
drinking for a while.
since 2 o'clock. Going strong.
it is now 8:15 as we begin this recording, and we started drinking at 2.
You brought a case.
I brought a case.
You brought a case. My wife went out and
Bought more.
I
yes,
bought a bottle.
wonderfully gone out. You brought a whole
I
bottle
brought
of
a bottle of
eggnog.
eggnog. Spiked.
And, yeah. And now
The
there's
way I say spike, oh my God.
yeah.
So I mean, I've sampled.
I need an eggnog to put into my spiked eggnog.
I sampled Sam Adams Winter Lager, 2 of those. They were pretty good.
Okay.
I had that. What was it? KBS.
Oh, KBS.
From
Founders.
Founders, which is the cinnamon beer.
The one I rated the last episode,
which
episode 40.
was,
Didn't I tell you I was going to kick you in the nuts?
That was a lot of flavor.
Yeah.
A lot of flavor.
I've had a glazed and confused,
You had your bit beer, festa beer,
bit burger, that's the beer,
festa beer,
Mhm.
and the eggnog.
the eggnog. I had a double nickel Glow Zero.
Below zero.
I had
Winter ale.
yeah, I'm drinking one of the Trogs now.
Perpetual?
No. I grabbed one. I don't even know which one I grabbed.
Yeah.
I just grabbed one out. It's on. I recorded it.
I had. You look that up. I had Mad Elf, which was
Oh, there you go.
Trogs back.
Oh, there we go.
go.
I had the Troganator double bach.
Ooh. I had a ties the room together from Kate May. I had, oh God, what else did I have? I had a coffee and cream.
And I drank all of those out of a Flying Fish brewery.
There you go. Well, I have a Yards. My wife was also kind enough. She got a Yards, which I haven't had yet, but I've had before, but I haven't had yet. The French toast bites, which are delicious.
Oh yeah, he was like a little too like, ooh, French toast,
Yeah.
French toast.
You went,
And,
ooh.
I had Ooh La La from
Ooh La
Axe and
La.
Arrow.
Oh, Mike also had you had the Boston cream beer.
That's
that's
the
the Lazy
Confused,
Confused,
yeah.
And
So-
my numbers are like up here.
I couldn't tell you what else I've had. I've had a couple. Excuse me tonight.
Oh man,
What is this? This is
I don't even know.
It's
Yeah.
beer.
no. What was this?
It's not beer.
No, it is beer. I'm trying to remember what I poured because this was also a new one. Damn it. I don't know.
Wasn't that the one that with the bowling and
Oh
Not
yeah, no, but I did have that, which I really like.
as Megan stands in the kitchen and pulls beer cans out of the recycling bin, trying to help us name them.
Yeah, this is the Grand Cacao
Grand Cacao.
from Trogs.
yeah, she got it.
Yeah.
She put it out before she said
You sure you want to be on the show, Meg?
it. She's our Vanna White.
Now the gentlemen are here at my place because we were going to watch it. And
We're on
live
this
feed.
sunny south side of Cherry Hill.
That's
now.
right. And part of the reason was that the wives were going to be doing the baking, and they wanted to vacate the premises of where the wives would be baking, so they came here. And we just had dinner, and now my wife is she's baking. You can't escape it.
You can't escape the bacon.
It's here.
It's Christmas.
Yes,
time.
but it's one person baking and not several.
Yeah,
That's
it's not.
true.
My house was my wife, my mother-in-law, my brothers-in-law, their wives, and their kids. So it was a regular family festival, which is
Well, it was just my
why I
wife.
came here.
It was just my wife, and my mother-in-law. But this would be the third straight day that I see my mother-in-law. It was time to
It's
go.
time to go. You can tell we've been drinking. a lot.
You'd like to call your mom over, honey. I mean, you could. That's a no.
By your sisters.
You have to go over to my place.
I offered for Megan to go to my place and hang out with Katie and the rest of my family. So now that we're done alienating ourselves from our families.
Which I don't think watch this.
Yeah, I know my wife
we
will listen to
really do need
My
to
wife.
increase our viewership. Our spouses aren't even.
Yeah. Tonight we watched,
My mother-in-law
so we
will
got
know
together
podcast
today, aside from trying to do a live episode tonight that
No.
obviously didn't work. We mainly got together today to watch a movie together that we can review live. So we watched the hard to describe Christmas film starring Mel Gibson, Fatman, which, as I said in the opening, intro to the show, was a movie about a kid who gets a lump of coal for Christmas. So he hires a hitman to go after Santa. And the first thing I said to the guys as we were watching this is, this movie doesn't know if it wants to be a dark comedy, an action film, or a socio-political commentary on the state of America, or even a commentary on kids these days.
Yeah.
I
I took it when I saw the trailer and the whole this came out a year ago. We had seen the trailer a year ago. The trailer is very deceiving. It showed up on my Facebook memories this around this time, and I said, guys, we have to watch this. And Leo had already seen it because
I watch every fucking movie
everything that comes out. It's a movie a day,
especially if it's a movie that is like pure torture.
Yes.
And nobody's ever seen it.
You like to put yourself through pain.
I like to put myself through pain.
So we figured we'd gather, we'd watch,
Yeah,
and we'd review. We had talked about doing it in a Mystery Science Theater 3000 version, and I'm like, no, because then you'll miss something. Right, you'll miss something from the
Plus,
story.
I wasn't sure with copyright if I'd be able to do that.
That's
live
true.
either,
Yeah,
so.
yeah. You may need to bleep out the thing I just said. I'm not sure. But we watched it, and
It's not a Disney film. They're not gonna come
I
out.
honestly thought after watching the trailer, it was going to be more like, the movie Scrooged, where he's the television executive and he's talking about all the different kinds of shows that the network is kind of putting out. It seemed to me like one of those trailers that network would have put out.
It's kind of like when Tarantino did the Grindhouse films. He did, was it I can't remember the names of the two movies that were in the Grindhouse, but between the two films there were a whole bunch of fake trailers.
Okay.
And one of them was a trailer from a Machete, which then became a real movie. So I kind of felt like that, like maybe this is a fake trailer for something else that became
like, I'm thinking in my head, I'm watching this trailer and I'm like, oh, this is The $1 Million Man Saves Christmas, or Robert Goulet sings A Very Cajun Christmas, or something, something along those lines by watching it, because it seemed that off, Bless you.
Very good.
Like snotting up the program right now.
You want to move over?
Welcome to Corona Live.
I just got my booster.
Mike is suffering from the Optimus Prime variant.
No, mine's a Decepticon.
Pardon me for shifting so much, folks. The camera adds 300 pounds. So we watched this crazy ass movie.
Yes, we did.
That we really have a hard time, even categorizing.
Well, go back to the trailer. The trailer makes it seem like the kid gets cold.
Mm-hmm.
You see him outside screaming that he's going to get the fat man.
Mm-hmm.
And next thing you know, you see
a lot of fighting, a lot of gunshots.
You see the guy, the assassin that's going after him. Mm-hmm. So it makes it look like the kid has grown up to go kill him.
Mm-hmm. Honestly, the action didn't come till much later in the film. It was not that long of a film.
It was a slow burn film.
It was a slow burn film, but the action that took place at the end was surprisingly gory too.
Yeah, it was a lot of setup for what ended up being like a 20-minute battle at the end.
Yeah.
But a lot of it was just kind of setting up who he is as Santa, why he's doing this thing with the American government and military, who this hitman is.
That's a very how the elves only eat junk.
Yeah,
and I think we have to make sure that we note that this was a very dark Santa. It was not, we were talking about Santa, but this is Santa.
As in one of his lines. You think I got this job for being fat and happy?
Yeah. No, like the elves even look dark. The elves look dark, not like
the factory was like a dingy factory.
Exactly,
So it was funny because it followed a lot of lore. Like he's immortal.
Mm-hmm.
He has the elves. He takes the presents out on Christmas.
He flies in a
sled. He's got the reindeer, all that shit. But then it's also but he gets paid by the American government to do the job he does.
Yes.
He has to take a contract from the military because he's not making enough. The elves have numbers for names because it's more efficient.
He gets shot.
But he's like Wolverine without the claws.
The underlining factor
is still a present.
The underlining thing that's being kind of talked about is how his job as Santa, with what he does, boosts the economy.
Of America.
Stimulates the economy.
His
in America.
Christmas spirit increases sales or something.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the movie stars Mel Gibson as Chris, as he's referred to often in the film, Chris Kringle. Walton Goggins, who is probably best known for The Shield and Justified FX shows, plays a character known as the Skinny Man.
His name is addressed, but
he gives his name as like John Miller or something like that.
Yeah, it's something very.
But he's often referred to as the Skinny Man. He is the hitman in the film who goes after Mel. It wouldn't be a Walton Goggins performance if he wasn't playing a villain.
Pretty much.
And he has a whole backstory too, where he didn't get what he wanted for Christmas.
His backstory is actually sadder than the little boy who hired him. Yeah.
And then he collects presents that come directly from Santa. It's also that Santa is a known commodity too.
Yeah.
It's not that people don't believe in him.
No.
It's just that kids are so spoiled nowadays that they can give a shit about Santa.
Yeah.
And it's people know who he is.
It's not mythical as much as it is just
gritty,
old fashioned. Yeah.
Yeah. Marion Jean-Baptiste as his wife, Ruth. Ruth is obviously Mrs. Claus and Skringle.
I never knew her first name.
And Marion Jean-Baptiste.
No,
She's
I meant
a-
Ruth.
Ruth.
I
Yeah, I don't know.
You always know her.
I'm
as
guessing
Mrs.
it was like a
Claus.
made up name. I don't know
You
if that
know.
was actually me. And the precocious 12-year-old who hires Santa,
Also known as.
also known as Little Shit in the
Little
film,
Shit.
is the actor's name is Chance Hertzfeld, and the character's name was Billy Wayne.
Hmm.
And he is a spoiled rich kid who hires the hitman to do jobs for him regularly, including like abducting a girl,
Abducting a girl who won
Who
the
won the first-
science contest.
science
To
fair
intimidate
competition.
her to say she cheated on it. Yes.
So here are the taglines for the film, just to let you know what we're getting into here. You know the man, you know the legend, but you don't know the real story. I would argue this is not really the real story.
No, it's not. It has nothing to do with the real story.
I don't remember this as a Rankin Bass festival.
Well, this is actually based off of a true thing that happened up in the northern
Oh, yeah.
Canadian borders. Yeah,
Sure.
The guy who thought he was Santa.
that's right.
Here's
At
another
North Peak.
tagline. "'Tis the season to get even."
This
This holiday season, you don't want to be on his hit list, which is also not true because he's not the hitman.
No,
in
he's
the
not the
story.
hitman.
Well, that would have been a good movie.
It would have been. I mean, if they just said this holiday season, you don't want to be on his list. That works even better. You better watch out.
It's like Old Man Logan meets Santa.
Yes, Old Man Logan meets Santa. It's really what it is. So here you your spoiler-free summary, or at least some things that these are some notes that I took as we were watching the program. You're already in for a treat when you don't recognize any of the production companies involved.
That's true. Oh my God. No.
You have to question whether or not this was a fan film.
Yeah,
you know?
like at when we watched the trailer, I think you had gone outside and when we were watching the trailer.
I was
like-
watching it from outside.
It's the latest film from the
Helm.
Helms brothers or
Helms
something
brothers.
like that. And I'm like, who the fuck are these
Did
guys?
you look them up?
They're the
I
B
looked them
version
up.
of the Coen brothers.
Yeah, I looked them up and like I heard one film they've ever done. I know. And the last film they did was this one.
Wow.
The antagonist is precocious but still writes like a 5-year-old. So he's a 12-year-old boy, but then when he writes a letter to Santa, it's like all like the messy letters and
Yeah,
then what's
you
the
look at
thing
the
that's like
science
a-
fair project.
science
and it's
project,
like,
yeah.
they're
Here's
almost
the question,
living in
though.
natural fact.
Here's a plot hole there.
What?
He steals some checks from grandmother
Yeah.
and writes some of that's how she smooths the money. If his handwriting's that bad, how the
How is he? Well, he had
Yeah,
the
the light
the
table.
light thing, and he would put it
He
up, and he was like
traced it.
tracing it, you know.
Okay. Yeah,
So-
but a 5-year-old handwriting still can't trace something that well.
Oh, and there's also when he does the paintings later, and he's like,
Yeah.
he's painting pictures of Santa getting tortured and shit, and he's wearing like the apron, and he's got
Yeah.
the
He's got
palette,
the palette
and he's got the easel set up. He's like Bob Ross or some shit, and then you see the paintings. And they're
listening
like,
to classical music.
yeah, it
you
looks
know?
like the painting that my 5-year-old niece puts up on the fridge.
Though I will say of the paintings,
Is she putting up
the one
wait a minute, your 5-year-old niece is putting up pictures of killing Santa Claus?
No, I meant like the quality of the photos. You know, the quality.
one of the
paintings.
paintings they have of him is Santa being drawn and quartered by
By
the
the reindeer.
reindeer.
Best.
I thought that was
I
pretty
have that
awesome.
on here. I think I put Santa being drawn and quartered by reindeer in the painting. What do you know? The villain, both villains, the boy and the hitman, have daddy issues.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Santa has money trouble. That was one of the parts of the film. I'm like, what, really?
What?
He can't afford to keep the power on.
I'm trying to
And
figure
that's
out
a-
how this is working.
Oh, yeah.
What?
And that's a part of his. I mean, they're not arguing per se, but the conversations between him and Ruth
Mhm.
are that we need the money. And her thing is like, we didn't do this for the money, and his argument is, we're not doing it for the money, but the money is a necessity.
And that
Kind of jades him a little bit.
And this is where the dark comedies section comes in, because that was one of the few like out loud laughs I had. Was when he's calling around trying to get work from different people, and
Yeah.
he calls Elon Musk.
Hey,
He's like,
Elon.
Elon, Chris. Santa exists in the world. He is angry that children nowadays suck and take no accountability for their actions.
So one thing I'm going to say, because he hears the story of the kids who dropped the bowling ball in
Yes.
the middle of the
That
highway.
was a true story.
Was that a true
That
story?
was a true story.
No,
That
I thought
was-
I
was an
read
actual
that
thing.
came out of
It was like a I think
Beavis and Butthead.
Beavis and Butthead did something like that in the movie, the Beavis and Butthead Take America or wherever, or Do
Mhm.
America, whatever it's called. And then there are these kids who like copied it, and it was a big story. I remember
Yeah.
they
Wow.
dropped a, I don't know if it was a bowling ball, it might have
That
been
was
like
a
a big
block.
rock or,
I think
or
it was
like
like
a
a
brick or
center block.
something,
Yeah.
and it killed the driver
Yeah.
because like the force with which it hit the person.
Yeah.
So that story that they tell is kind of a real story. It's kind of to highlight that, kids
Mhm.
are awful. Like he gets shot because the kids take a deer rifle and try to shoot at the sleighs. It's funny.
The sleigh guy hit twice, he got hit once.
Yeah, but like it's funny because like it's where we come into the whole Wolverine, without the claws thing, is like he's immortal and he heals. He has a healing factor. So he's a mutant basically. He's an X-Men.
And we can
what
understand that
keeps
you
him
watching
young
this
is
will
the
probably factor certain things in. If you were to watch the movie following this podcast,
I would
you're
say
going to
watch
take
it.
away some
I would
things.
recommend watching it.
I would recommend watching it, even if you kind of know how it's going to end,
They
yeah.
call him the fat man, but he's not that fat.
No.
No.
Really. I mean, it's Mel Gibson.
Mhm.
How fat is he going to be? He has a government contract for making toys.
And they're very impressed with how,
And they're very impressed
how
with it.
efficient.
How efficient it is. He has a subsidy budget with the American government, which forces him to take a military contract and make up for the loss of revenue because they didn't make as many toys that year. I love the Elves. The Elves were awesome.
Yeah, I
The
love
Elves are
how
cool.
the military, the person in charge, general or whatever,
Got
was
cut off them bells.
was questioning the head elf, and the head elf was like, narrowed it down to no, that's not how we do it. We need to do this in the most efficient way, and the productivity was so great. He goes, "This is amazing."
Yeah. But I kind of make them cut the bells off because it'll make the metal detectors go
Yeah.
off. And that's I like that the Elves too is like it's another thing too. It's like about the realism of it is that they weren't shaken by the fact that they were working with elves. It was just kind of fact that elves exist.
Yeah,
He was like more surprised by the elf diet.
and again,
I don't know if the general knows what they call them as elves. He
calls them people.
little
people.
little people, and they would look better and be taller if they ate
If they
real
eat protein
food.
and real food.
you need the 4 basic food groups. They're like, what are you talking
And
about?
I put down because I have the thing here. I said tie-ins to other films and lore. Elves love sugar, and giving keeps Chris young, which reminded me of the movie Elf of Will Ferrell because he eats from the 4 food groups, which is candy cane, candy corn, sugar, and syrup.
And
So there are 4 food groups.
The biggest thing to remember when watching this movie, the elves look nothing like all those brightly colored. Nothing like that at all.
It's like the Dark Knight version.
They look
of
like
Santa
miners.
Claus.
You know what they look like?
They look like miners.
Yeah, have you seen the what is it? Prep and Landing cartoons?
Yeah.
Mhm.
The one with the minor one?
Yes.
They look like
Yeah.
those minor ones.
The one that works in like the coal
yeah,
aspect of it,
the coal elf. Yeah, that's exactly what
It's
they look
like the Dark Knight version of Santa Claus. It's like
Yeah.
everything is gritty
Yeah.
and dirty. The elves have dirt on their faces. I already said big shocker, Walter Goggins is the villain.
Mhm.
Mike wants to know who the good guy is in the film. That's one of the things I wrote. Kind of hard to tell. I think the good guy was the hamster. I think
No,
This
I
hamster,
figured
by
it
the
out
way.
by the end. 7.
Seven was
Seven
the
was
good guy.
Seven was a good guy.
7 was the head elf
Yeah.
because they go by numbers. Ruth, I thought was kind of a good guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ruth was Mrs. Kringle.
I forgot that.
Santa had his moments as a good guy. Then we were joking is the hitman character Walt Goggins played had a hamster that he takes everywhere with him, including on the car ride to the North Pole.
I think the
That was
hamsters
hilarious.
had more successful film,
film
credits
than the director-
yeah,
than the directors
than
did.
the directors.
Yeah, I said the hamster was the real star of the film.
Hamster was in another movie that centered around COVID-19.
Yeah, what was it called? It was Belated something or another,
Yeah.
right? Belated. Santa's got past due bills. And I wrote, is he a superhero? Question mark.
Well, he did pick up that whole.
So yeah, so here's what you get. He doesn't have the claws, but he has the healing factor of Wolverine. He's immortal.
He's got the string.
He's got super strength because he picks up this heavy pallet that like 3 soldiers could pick up. at
Yeah,
the
because
same
it fell off.
time.
It fell off
'Cause it fell off the forklift.
and they could pick it. He picked it up. on
He's
his
got
own.
the healing factor, you
Mhm.
know. He knows everybody's names. He knows everything about you because that's one of the parts of the Santa Claus lore.
And the
But they make it
yeah,
seem
right.
like a superpower. Like he's fucking like Charles Xavier.
Yeah.
He's a mutant or something.
Now, here's what I wanted to know. A question I'm having now that they're thinking about now after watching the movie. Santa hangs in the town from time to time, not
Mhm.
often, but from time to time. And the people there know him. Now, do they know him simply as Chris,
I
or
think-
do
I
they
think
know
like-
him as
I
Santa?
think they only know him as
As
Chris.
Chris,
I think they
okay.
just know him as this like surly guy who comes to the bar and puts Alka-Seltzer in his whiskey.
The postal office worker knows him as.
You
because-
think he knows he's Santa Claus?
Because he said we have more in the back and get picked up more letters.
Yeah,
Okay.
maybe.
The Santa Claus.
But like the
letters.
girl at the bar doesn't know he's
No.
Santa.
I think
She
I
just
had
knows that he
most of
ruins
that
all her
one.
one night
Okay.
stands.
But other than, yeah.
And like none of the other people in town, I think, know him. Do you think little shit got whacked at the end of the film? I would love to have like told him really.
That would have been bad for Santa to do that.
It
Even
would
though
have
he's
been-
like,
yeah,
he's missing an
But I love
eye.
It
the
was still
fear
satisfying.
of- right.
Yeah,
the
so-
fear that came out of it.
yeah, it's a very, very cool end scene in the film with Santa like getting to the kid that hired the hitman and sort of like threatening him a little bit.
Mhm.
So I had to tie in for things like he still knows the names and actions of the people. So it's like sees you when you're sleeping, knows when you're awake kind of nonsense. He's immortal, but his reputation has become commercial.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So he's mad at like the way he's drawn in cartoons and gift wrappings and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And then we have the elf time with elves of sugar.
Yep.
And the giving is what keeps us young.
Mhm.
So there's that like scene where he's looking through the portfolios of like the kids.
He gave a
He
toy.
gave the one girl a toy fire truck and she became a firefighter.
Gave another little boy a
cooking thing.
Kitchen
cooking
thing,
thing,
and
and
he became a
chef.
chef.
And it's like, oh yeah, so it's so it really does matter in some way.
yeah.
So we have some of our favorite quotes here. I have two here, but I got more on my phone, so I'm gonna bring them up. Because if this movie didn't lack one thing, it had some really
Good
quotes.
one-liners.
Yes, I go through.
So we have what's the matter, Chris? The whole operation's tits up. When the two government guys are in the stable with them, and the
Mhm.
reindeer in there, and then one reindeer takes a snap at the guy, and he goes, "Oh yeah, that's Donner. Gets a bit nippy. Lucky it wasn't Blitzen. She tear your package right off." It's only Mel Gibson could deliver that line. He's talking to Seven about the gift giving thing and all that, and he's like, "It's going to be a squeaker this year, even if things go perfectly." And says, "When does it ever do?" And he goes,
Now, he has
"Which it
said-
never does." And he goes, "When have you seen it go perfect?" He's like, "1910 was close. There was a bad war that year." He's like, "Can't blame yourself." What's your purpose for your visit? When the skinny man goes to the border agent, and he's like, "Recreation, hunting. I'm gonna kill some things." You never forget the smell of burning flesh and menthols.
Yeah, he buys the plane for the kid for $150.
Yeah, he buys the plane from him. What else do I have here? There's the whole talk about the economic stimulus and all that shit. You know what I got for Christmas when I was a kid? That was where he shows the burns on his arm. I'm looking for the fat man. Where is he? Excuse me, Santa Claus, motherfucker.
Fat man, I'm here for your head.
Fat man. Yeah, I definitely have that one on here. You just messed up big time, fat man. Remember this? This is the only goddamn thing you ever gave me. And after all those letters I wrote you, I'm sorry, son, there are limits to what I can do. I couldn't replace your parents. And that's when he says, I want to get your head, fat man. He's like, you think you're the first? You think I got this job because I'm fat and jolly? Some kid with a deer rifle put 2 holes in my sleigh and 1 in me. And this is the one where he gets the eye and all that. He's like, "I'll come while you're sleeping." The fat man's got his eye on you. Some fucking great quotes in this movie. So yeah, I would say those are my favorite quotes.
I would say it's not Oscar worthy.
It's definitely not Oscar. I would say
But I wouldn't put it as a Razzie either.
no. It was
No.
a worthy B film.
Mhm.
It was in that like
The plot was just tough.
it had like that.
It didn't know what the plot was.
They didn't know what the plot was, and I don't know if it's just a good comparison or not. It was like a like a John Carpenter film.
A little bit.
Like John Carpenter films are not great, but
Right.
we love them anyway. Like They Live and Big Trouble in Little China, like they're all crazy ass movies.
Center plots.
So here's
But, like,
here's
it's
the
not
thing
one
that
that
I think it's tough to take away is that we've all seen Christmas movies. We all know the format. This goes off the format.
Yes,
This
yeah.
is beyond outside the box. This is a whole new gift, you know? And that's okay to do. You just it's tough to get that preconceived notion out of your head to take it as something.
I would
different.
love a sequel to this film.
Yeah.
I would love to see more of Mel Gibson as Santa. It was a unique take
Yeah, it
on
Yeah.
was.
the
It
character.
really was.
I like that they implemented the lore of Santa Claus into this batshit crazy movie.
Mhm.
And it was slow burn. Like you had to kind of take it for what it was. When it gets to that 20-minute shootout at the end, it's pretty good.
I wasn't bored. I wasn't bored. I wasn't, you know, I didn't feel like it was brawling out. I liked
I thought
hearing the
there
story.
was times I started.
You dipped a few times.
Yeah, you did.
Especially at the beginning.
Yeah, it was.
I think
really
once it
slow.
started to pick up a little bit,
Yeah,
you were fine.
Mhm.
It's like kind of getting to know the circumstances around all the characters at first.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So it's like the movie's only an hour and 40 minutes. And I would say the last 20 minutes were 25 minutes were like the fight scene into the conclusion with the
Yeah.
kid, you know. So a lot of the movie before that was just kind of setting things up.
Yeah.
And then once Walton Goggins' character reaches the compound
Yeah.
where Santa's
Right.
thing is, that's where it starts picking up.
The travel scenes with him was funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was funny. Some of the other
radio
scenes, like,
stations, listen to all these different music
Yeah.
stations, and then he's got the hamster in the wheel on the dashboard. He takes the plane from the kid and pays him $150 for it.
the gerbil looks, or the guinea pig, the hamster.
I like
Boy, so he goes to the.
Yeah.
It says to the
Molly of my
store, you remind me of my mother. She also never knew when to shut up.
She never listened.
She never knew when to shut the fuck up and listen.
You don't look like a hamster guy. You look like more like a snake guy.
Yeah.
Snake through
So I would give this movie 5 out of 6 beers in a 6-pack.
Yeah.
I give it 5 out of 6 beers.
Yeah.
I would 4.
I don't know.
4 beers out of 6.
I'd say 5.
I'm really
I'd
hung
say
up on
5.
the plot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mike needed a little bit more action, I think.
Not necessarily more action. I need more understandable plot.
I will not want to watch it again this year. But I think next year when I'm getting through my Christmas movies and I'm looking for something to watch, this would be a consideration.
Mhm.
You know,
and it'd definitely be after Emmett and.
right. No, you hit the staples first, but it's
So
like
you
okay,
gotta
well,
watch Die Hard, Die Hard 2,
Yeah,
Lethal Weapon,
yeah.
And then this.
Yeah. With it.
Am I going to watch Jingle All the Way with Arnold, or am I going to watch Mel Gibson?
I'd rather
Which
watch
action
Fatman.
story?
I
think I'd
watch
Fatman.
Batman 10 out of 10 times more than
Yeah.
Jingle All the Way.
Mhm.
I'm looking for Turbo Man now. You know, in that movie, he's like a fucking carpet salesman or something. Arnold Schwarzenegger or something.
Well,
We got a nice shag roll here.
what you didn't know is that was actually kind of filmed in sequence with True Lies 2, where he was an agent at with a rather mundane job.
Okay.
Yeah.
I looked to see if there was a Fat Man 2 on the horizon. I didn't see anything. I'm disappointed because I'd really like to see a Fat Man 2.
Yeah.
So I recommend watching this film, especially if you're somebody like us who loves a good bad film once in a while.
Could you see a tie-in with Fatman 2 and Krampus?
That'd be cool.
That would be.
That would be the plot then. You could have him fight Krampus.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we have a be right. I'll pause it.
Hey, right.
Be right. Hope you enjoyed those words from Quaker Rage. Ooh, no stop. And what's the other? And Bernie Big Red.
Yes.
I'm getting tired of trying to say these jokes. So we have a bonus segment for you tonight to end the program. Some other weird after Christmas films that you may or may not have heard of or seen.
Mhm.
The first one I got on the list is Bad Santa, which is probably the most popular one on this list.
Yeah.
Probably.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
popular they made a second one.
We haven't heard much from Billy Bob Thornton lately.
I wonder why.
Yeah.
It's filming Bad Santa 3.
Oh,
Yeah.
Jesus.
Bad Santa's funny. It does have some funny moments in it. It's one of the last performances from John Ritter.
Forgot that he was in
he
that.
was in it.
Yeah.
And Bernie Mac, I think, right? Was he in it?
That I don't remember.
Bernie Mac, I think, was in it as well. So it was like last performance for both of those guys. The funniest part of the film is the little person actor who plays his partner in crime. Santa Claus Conquers the Martians.
Need we say more?
This is a seminal B movie from the 60s that I remember watching on a late night, one of those late night like drive-in horror show things that used to come on TV all the time. This one was a ripoff of the Elvira movie thing. And I don't remember who the woman was that hosted it, but it was I remember watching on that, Santa Claus Conquers the Martians. Basically, the Martians are jealous of Earth for having this Christmas season or something like that. So they like kidnap Santa and a couple of kids who were like in his sleigh or something. I don't even fucking remember. Who cares?
Wow.
The third one is Kirk Cameron Saves Christmas.
Wow.
He goes from being the heartthrob on was it Growing Pains?
No,
Growing Pains. Becomes a born again Christian, and then starts, basically rallying against all things Hollywood because of how anti-Christian they are. And he makes this movie, which is about him trying to remind people that the real reason behind Christmas is the birth of Jesus, which I'm not, knocking that as a reason.
No.
But I don't need Kirk Cameron to tell me that.
No. Historically, that was just kind of added to everything else that was going on at the time.
Yeah. Santa Claus with Muscles, starring Hulk Hogan.
Here's a real Napoleon.
I put down the starring Hulk Hogan because it just needed to be said that he was in it. It's not actually the title. The movie is just called Santa with Muscles, starring Hulk Hogan. This movie
Did this
was made
get
in
him on his
1991.
with 1991?
96, I'm sorry.
96. So this was post what was that one, that the wrestling movie he did? No Holds Barred.
Yeah. Oh my God, I might have to actually watch this. An evil millionaire believes he is Santa after an accident makes him amnesiac. So he's basically.
Isn't that John Candy in a movie where he was a writer and he was
I don't know. Oh yeah, that was the one where it's a mystery. He's a mystery writer. Yeah, but it's kind of not. But he's not Hulk Hogan. Hulk Hogan thinks he's.
No, he's a better actor.
Oh my God. That's Mila Kunis, a very young Mila Kunis in that film.
Oh yeah, it is.
Holy shit.
Wow.
Mila Kunis. So so Hulk Hogan with Muscles, Santa with Muscles. It has a 2.6 out of 10 stars on IMDb.
Worth watching.
Yeah, I definitely want to watch that because that's the kind of torturous film I like to put myself through. Garrett Morris is in it. Wow. Mila Kunis. Clint Howard, of course, he's in it. I wonder what the Rotten Tomatoes score is on this shit.
Was it directed by Ron?
It was directed by him.
I thought that was the only way. I think that was the only way. Clint
John
Howard.
Murlowski is the director. He's also directed such films as Black Cadillac, Richie Rich's Christmas Wish, and The Freeway Killer, as well as Cop Dog.
Okay.
I gotta look up the Rotten Tomatoes on that movie later. Santa Claus the movie.
I actually like this movie. It's
I
one of my. It's one I enjoy watching.
When I was a
to
kid, I
certain point.
liked it.
Only up till a certain point, because once it takes the turn for, the elf that needs to prove himself and goes with John Lithgow, then it kind of takes a nosedive for me. But the whole story leading up to that, I really enjoy. It's a Santa origin story.
Yeah, but then it comes some weird like Dudley Moore, like commercial Christmas.
Well, that's what I'm
thing.
saying. Once
Yeah.
it gets to that point where he
You
leaves the
would
North
think
Pole,
Dudley Moore is Santa, considering he got top billing on the film, but he plays Patch the elf.
yeah,
You got John Lithgow as like the villain, the corporate
Mhm.
villain. Burgess Meredith is in it as the ancient elf.
hmm
But the guy who plays Santa in it was really good. David Huddleston, who's like
he was in
he's
the
a
Great Lebowski.
career like
Yeah.
character actor. He was in Blazing Saddles, Big Lebowski, The
Mhm.
Producers, Frantic. I mean, he was in a lot of movies because he's a pretty popular character actor. He passed away. He passed away a
Yeah.
couple of years ago. But he was really good at Santa Claus.
hmm
The other one is Santa Claus versus the Devil. Pretty much self-explanatory
Yeah.
there. I don't think there's too much gray matter into that one. Santa Claus versus the Devil
Is
is
that
a
B or C rated movie?
It's a Z-rated movie.
It doesn't even come up on IMDb. That's how low rated it is.
Oh.
It's movie from the 60s. So it is definitely like, B movie material. The next one is called Elves. This is a
Let me read your note. This one is fucked up.
yeah.
Okay.
That's the only note I had for this. So there's the elf. I don't know if you can see it.
Yeah,
There's the elf.
Oh God!
but that's
So-
Santa Claus. Is that the Santa Claus?
That's Santa Claus. Yeah. So this
I think he's
is
played Santa Claus.
Wait, is this a TV series one or
no,
is
this
okay.
is 1989.
Okay.
Oh no, I don't know who he is. Grizzly Adams.
This is
Oh, there's a
Grizzly
2018 one.
It is Grizzly Adams.
Dan Haggerty.
Yeah, it's Grizzly Adams.
Mm.
So I don't know what that one is. This is this one, 1989. Here's the description, right? A young woman discovers that she is the focus of an evil Nazi experiment involving selective breeding and summoned elves, an attempt to create a race of supermen. She and two of her friends are trapped in a department store with an elf, and only Dan Haggerty, as the renegade loose cannon Santa Claus, can save them. That one looks even better. Look at
Oh
that
my
shit.
God.
Wow.
2018.
And that looks like
That's like Chucky as elf.
That's up there with Ginger Dead Man.
It's like Chucky got elf suits.
And so that was Elves, and my computer
Claus.
just shut off on me.
Santa Claus.
The next one is called Santa Claus, which is a horror film from the 80s about a monster dressed as Santa.
I would say Elves is a horror movie too.
Yeah, Elves is a horror movie too. There was another, there was like a popular thing in the 80s to have like Christmas horror films.
Yeah.
The next one is probably the more well-known of them.
Gremlins.
Silent Night, Deadly Night.
Oh.
Well, Silent Night, Deadly Night is about an axe-wielding serial killer dressed as Santa.
Yeah.
That they actually made a bunch of sequels to. Yeah, I guess you could put Gremlins on there.
Yeah,
right?
it's a
Gremlins
Christmas
is
movie.
a Christmas movie.
Absolutely.
It's definitely out there, although it's probably a little more commercial because it's a popular film.
Yeah.
And then the last one I have on this list is Krampus, which came out a couple years ago.
I enjoyed that one.
It was a good one. It was different. It was about a family
Mhm.
being attacked by Krampus, who was like the evil version of Santa Claus,
Right.
and all that, and had a really interesting twist ending to it that I won't ruin.
Right.
So that was one I would probably recommend.
It says a boy who had a bad Christmas accidentally summons a festive demon to his family home.
And that is Krampus.
Yeah.
So thank you for joining us tonight. We're sorry that we weren't able to get the live episode up and running for the two of you out there who were hoping to watch it. This is episode 41. We did the review of the Fatman, and we are going to be taking a week off for Christmas break and possibly coming back to you in between Christmas and New Year's. We're not quite sure yet if we're going to be doing an episode that week or not. But the next episode is going to be a year in review, where we talk about the best films of 2021. I'm curious to see what that list is going to look like because I'm not even sure.
Me
what the
too.
best
I don't
films
know
are.
if I've been in the theater.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't been in the theater. It's probably going to be a lot of streaming films or things that premiered on Netflix or HBO Max or
agree.
whatever. But yeah, we're going to do a year in review to close out the year before starting our series of episodes come the new year. So thank you for joining us on Films and Fermentation. Don't forget to visit us at our website.
Please.
Email us at filmsandfermentation@gmail.com. Visit us on Instagram at Films and Fermentation or Facebook.com/Films and Fermentation. We will try to do a live episode again at some point in the future, but I'm going to try to make sure we work out all the bugs beforehand instead of getting screwed on it like we did tonight.
That's what happens with us when we try something new.
Yeah, it always happens. This happened the first time we tried doing video broadcasts as well. So, it's the kinks you have to work out when you're doing this sort of thing. But thank you for joining us again. I'm Leo.
I'm Kevin.
I'm Mike.
Thank you for joining us here at the crossroads between pickled and fermented. We hope you enjoyed listening to the program as much as we enjoyed recording it for you. Gentlemen, cheers.
Cheers. Oh, I'm out.
I'm out too, but I got a little bit left at the bottom.
Oh.
Tasty. That was refreshing.
Can't say
Can't
that.
use that.
Can't do
use
that.